brightly.
Hello everyone and welcome. My name is Lori Amigan. I'm an applications engineer here with SchoolDude. It is a balmy 52 degrees and cloudy here in North Carolina. So thanks so much for taking some time today and recapping 2016 with us. Just to kind of give you a little bit of housekeeping about today's session. So what we want to cover are these various topics that you see before you. So some survey results from this year, partners and that SchoolDude has currently, new solutions or enhancements that we've launched throughout the year, professional services, as well as Dude University. If you haven't noticed already, the lines are muted, but please feel free to use the chat feature. We have some folks monitoring the chat for me. And also at the conclusion of today's session, you will get a recording and links to our most shared material, content, blogs, webinars from 2016. You will also see a link to the budget and staffing survey results, which I will make mention of, as well as a link to the 2017 survey as well. Okay, so without further ado, want to thank everyone for their efforts kind of in looking at the volume of work and the client base. So if you haven't already patted yourselves on the back for a wondrous year, SchoolDude certainly appreciates that. As far as the magnitude of the community as a whole, we have in excess of 6,000 education institutions, and then volume of work, you can kind of see the breakdown within the various departments. Now, kind of going into the budget and staffing survey results, which maybe some of you participated in, just to give you a little bit of background about what the purpose of it was. So we kind of wanted to take a look and see what M&O benchmarks were out there, who's doing stuff very well, and kind of give you some insight into staffing and budgeting and operational insights. So our thanks to those 400 or so respondees that we did see. As far as who participated, so all facets of the educational arena, as well as then various departments throughout the institutions. I'm going to kind of go through these results in brief, but as I mentioned, there is a link to the actual results. So if you want to drill into it further and do your own comparisons and decision making off of that, please feel free. So one of the questions in here is with the onset of new technology, did we see then the likelihood that we'd be maybe manipulating then classrooms and such in support of that new technology? And you can kind of see the breakdown here, not only from a K through 12 standpoint, but also within then the higher arena. So as we do see that drive to technology, you may start to see that trend of facilities maybe working with the IT departments more closely, and then a larger percentage of higher education very likely then to redesign then their spaces. As far as in the landscape of how much of your work then is in-house versus outsourced, tend to see then that those that kind of do a combination, you sort of see then those service levels. From a higher education perspective, we do see that there is a majority of in-house as well. So what does that tell us? There does seem to be a trend where higher ed maybe starts to prefer outsourcing, and then K through 12 kind of prefers in-house. So though looking at it as a whole, large majority of you do have in-house maintenance staff. Okay. As far as in budget, so we all know then that and have to deal with a lot of budget shortfalls. But in this case, then the question was posed of have you seen an increase or a decrease in the last 5 years? This first metric is in relation to our K through 12 respondees. So a higher percentage of you had actually seen an increase in budget than a decrease. So that's always fantastic to hear. From a higher education standpoint, then you kind of see that makeup as well. Okay. When we look at your maintenance and operations budget as a whole, the average was about 10% of your overall budget tends to go through or be funneled to the maintenance operations arena. And then the breakdown. So where does all of that funding go? As you see here, that a majority of that does go to payroll and energy. Those are seemingly then the top two and account for more than half of your budget. So as we think about then kind of thought leadership and all of that, what are you doing then within your own institutions to consider either how might we reduce possible overtime, if that's in relation to supporting activities and either during outside the course of normal business hours, let's say, and or how are we handling then those rising energy costs as well. And then from a higher education arena as well, you can kind of see that. So in addition to then payroll and energy or utilities, and we also see then that supplies and are also eating up a bit of the budget. From a staffing perspective, so when we look at kind of what that breakdown is and kind of considering the enrollment numbers as they see, as you experience them, we see generally speaking roughly about 1 employee per per 1,000 students, and then in the higher education arena about 2.5. Okay. As far as grounds, so we do see then a breakdown, or we did then break down your facility staff into maintenance and grounds and custodial and the like. So in this case then what we saw was that primarily then the larger in the institution, the more that benchmark that we just mentioned then kind of shifts. So in those institutions, if you are a larger institution, maybe greater than 20K, you have maybe less than grounds staff than per enrollment. And then last but not least, then when we talk about custodians, so tend to be then the individuals that maybe are kind of the Jack or Jill of all trades. They kind of tend to cover a lot of bases here. And looking at the results, looks like higher education is kind of better staffed for custodians, but they also end up kind of maintaining more square footage, so we can kind of see that makeup there. And then kind of looking at area then that folks do have to maintain. We see how it correlates then with enrollment ranges. So wherever your institution kind of falls out there, you can get a sense for square footage then that any of those various types of facilities employees then manage. Okay. And then from a higher education arena, what does that look like for those of you that are part of higher education institutions? And then now also, how do we kind of bridge those operational key performance indicators with your budget and your staffing? So the national average for preventive maintenance sort of resource allocation is about 18%. So and what we said as a result of the survey was that the percent of the overall budget dedicated to maintenance and operations is roughly about 10%. So what you see before you is kind of a matrix of all of the benchmarks and kind of how does budget correlate with either focus on high preventive maintenance or low, or for those of you that are fortunate then that maybe do have high budgets as well as high participation in preventive maintenance. So kind of what does that mean? What does that look like? We understand that obviously setting up a sustainable preventive maintenance program is a challenge for nearly all of our institutions. It is pretty labor intensive, and a lot of times then clients and that we speak to dealing a lot with just having to run to failure with a lot of the equipment and facilities that they have. But as we've indicated then with the matrix and with the results that with some type of innovative leadership, strong people, processes, and systems in place, even those institutions or clients that do have budget constraints can achieve then implementing a successful preventive maintenance program. Okay. So that was kind of then the budget and staffing results in a nutshell. Now kind of moving on into new partners and that you may have seen or heard of, but we kind of wanted to highlight them here. So first and foremost is our newest partnership then with Grainger. Grainger is one of the leading online retailers for facility supplies, and we are teaming up then to bring you Click to Buy. So within then your maintenance solutions, you are able to order the supplies you need directly through the SchoolDude platform. So you have the ability to automate and standardize work orders, purchase orders, invoice, and any reconciliation processes. All of those transactions are automatically going to populate into the solutions for you. So no need to worry about having to have copies of those POs or receipts since all of the transactional data will be there. You can control your spending because you have the ability to set minimums or maximums or hierarchy approval throughout your institution. You can also streamline the payment process. And you can then work across multiple departments without affecting any type of workflow. And then as I mentioned, kind of improve tracking with your financial assignments, so knowing exactly what funding sources or account codes those transactions are going to, or cost centers, if you have blanket purchase order numbers or budget codes, and then the reconciliation process. Okay. So in addition to the Grainger partnership, we do then also have a partnership or have teamed up with Belfor for a new property restoration initiative. With Belfor, we're now able to offer our clients better disaster recovery services. And North Carolina can certainly speak to that after having come through Hurricane Matthew, though not all of us are entirely through it. So we certainly realize that disaster recovery is something that we all could benefit from. You'll have access to the best information on crisis response and property restoration. We will also offer then integrated safety and disaster recovery services. Good. So those are our partnerships then so far this year. Now on to kind of the solutions and enhancements. So what you see before you is the current SchoolDude platform, something hot off the press. For those of you that currently have our maintenance management solutions, specifically Maintenance Essentials, we are going to launch some updates to the Work Center application. So that's the mobile application that you and or your staff has been using either on their iPhone or Droid devices. So this evening we are launching an update. So now you will see come tomorrow attachment capability within the Work Center app, also the ability to add signatures to work orders, and then the main menu will now be editable. So in speaking to some of our clients, some would struggle if they just wanted to take a look at what their staff was doing. So maybe they weren't so much on the front lines anymore, but were more into a supervisory role. So in this manner, this way, now you can edit that main menu so that you can filter on whatever type of criteria you are looking for, whether you just want to look at work that is currently in progress, let's say, or if you want to filter by facility. You will have that functionality then come tomorrow morning. So I do encourage you and others within your institutions to go ahead and download those updates, or at least then download the Work Center application if you had not yet. And again, those are specifically then for our Maintenance Essentials clients. All right, now kind of delving into things that you may have heard of again throughout the year, or else things that have transpired that maybe you've come to this session to learn more about. So we do have some exciting things then to discuss today, range from business intelligence to our technology essentials, specifically our Insight and our mobile device management platforms, the Connect GIS, Crisis Manager, Capital Forecast, and then recent enhancements into our Event Essentials, which I will touch on as well. So kind of starting off with our suite of business intelligence. So oftentimes in my role, I hear from clients or prospects that you probably have paper or emails or spreadsheets or multiple databases out there that have information that is important to your organization somehow, some way, right? So it starts then with that data. And then with that data, you create information that will make sense to you or your administration so you can make better decisions. Okay? And so then thusly from that information comes knowledge, right? Where now I'm aware of how my shop is running. Based upon that information, now maybe I change processes or I look to evaluate different aspects of maybe how we can run more efficiently or maybe how I can gain better accountability. And so then last but not least, with that knowledge comes wisdom, which allows for continuous improvement and helps kind of teach others best practices. So if you haven't noticed as of late, we've really been trying to make powerful strides to bring that power of the data to you, and most especially then to our business intelligence suite. So these are the areas we've developed solutions that provide data that are easily shared in and out of your organization. So for those of you that are part of either multiple departments or you kind of see your department there, know that you play a part in how successful then not only your organization is, but the maintenance and the support of your facilities in general. If you have any type of operations challenge, know that SchoolDude can help you solve it and can help you achieve success. We have over 50 key performance indicators in all the areas that matter the most to you so that you can pinpoint those areas you want to track for the most effective results. These powerful key performance indicators and benchmarking are all a part of your dashboards that are built on our legacy of data. So we've been improving these features over the past months, and we will have exciting things to come. So with that, with our key performance indicators, you can set standards by knowing where you stand and setting achievable goals. So we will show you where you are, where the bottom 20% of our client base is, the average, and then the top 20%. So you can see the progress that you've made by gaining greater visibility on your successes over time. No longer kind of guesstimating at maybe what's happening in your shops. This information will automatically populate into these dashboards and key performance indicators. As I mentioned, it does give you the flexibility to see how you are performing against your peers that are similar to you, and then ensures that you are on the right track. So if we can help you determine what facilities are running best, what are the problem types that you are seeing throughout your facilities, is it a resource issue, is it a vendor issue, those types of things that help you with that data-driven decision making. And so with that, continuous improvement. So you know where you stand, you can set clear or measurable goals, you can gain perspective by seeing how you compare with your peers, and again, show your progress and easily be able to share or convey this information with administrators going forward. So the Due Data Dashboard allows you to benchmark your progress, see how your institution is performing and how you can improve. So you can help justify things such as staff or budgets or specialized staff with a base set of 52 key performance indicators. We'll also include 3-year trending data for you, comparative maps, and then also include a monthly PowerPoint or executive presentation that will contain the key performance indicators for you. These key performance indicators we're interactive, but you don't have drill down capability than currently. Right now the key performance indicators include maintenance, preventive maintenance, inventory, events or facility usage, utilities, technology, and trip or transportation management. Okay. That's kind of then the realm of business intelligence. Now kind of shifting gears into the technology arena. So we've also added technology essentials to our suite of solutions. It is designed specifically for the dynamic needs of your IT professionals. It is fully scalable. You'll get more visibility and more control over your IT environment. So highlights here, you can get a clear snapshot of your infrastructure through an automated agentless approach. Technology Essentials gives you visibility into the devices that are in your network, including comprehensive status and performance data for each one. Also provides you with centralized management of all of your IT assets. So virtually any IP addressable device, so whether that's hardware, software, mobile, or other networked assets, can be managed, tracked, and monitored through a single, simple platform. As far as in your policy enforcement, so oftentimes then I will hear that you might have a one-to-one environment, or maybe you do have institutions where folks can bring their devices into the institution. So where personal mobile devices are used to access organizational resources, Technology Essentials helps you manage what those devices can access and download while dictating how they interact with enterprise networks. And then last but not least, certainly want to help you improve efficiency and effectiveness of your own teams. So it was designed to streamline some of your most time-consuming jobs so you can focus more time and energy on meeting higher level goals. Okay, so as I mentioned, specifically within the Insight solution, Insight will help you kind of capture the total picture of your IT investment with a centralized tool. Reduces your compliance risk by ensuring all software is inventory and managed. So not only then would you know how many licenses that you have out there, we do have automatic alerts within the solution that can advise you if for some reason then those thresholds have been surpassed. Ability to increase reporting efficiency and accuracy. So not only then can you justify how you paid for those assets, so what was that funding source, but also what happened to those assets that you did spend money on. You can assess hardware for computer-based testing initiatives. You can gather data necessary for any sort of federal or state technology reporting, so very easy to aggregate the information, can import, export data quite easily into Excel format, and then also transform your raw data into actionable information via configurable dashboard views and standard reports. So there are then dashboards within the Insight solution as well. Okay. Within the Insight platform is also then our mobile device management, which is new then to the Technology Essentials suite. So it can accommodate any bring your own device policies without compromising your security. You have very diverse options for securely enrolling devices. So whether you're a part of the Apple Device Enrollment Program or Volume Purchase Program, very easy to get your devices enrolled within the platform. You can remotely configure devices and application policies, provision and distribute any approved applications, so essentially kind of creating your own application catalog within your institutions. Enforce all security and access control policies, including passwords and device locking. So again, sometimes then I'll talk to clients and maybe you might consider, or if you do already have one, those guest Wi-Fi networks, or maybe that's all right then for someone to come into our institution, but I don't want them on our in-house network. They will have access to our guest network. Or else then maybe we are want and control our specific secured then Wi-Fi network, let's say within our institution. You can remotely disable or disconnect any unauthorized devices. You can poll devices and produce reports, giving you, easy access to manufacturer, model name, build versions, form factors, installed apps, and more. In fact, like I can use the platform and it can tell me how much capacity I have left on my iPhone, which is not so much right now, unfortunately. But those kind of things that that give you a kind of big picture of what's happening within your environment. Can also enforce compliance and any other protective IT policies, and then gives you timely awareness of any changes to your asset landscape. So with highly configurable alert notifications, as I mentioned, things as simple as we had assets that are out on loan or on repair. They didn't come back on time, so then we have automatic alerts regards to that. Okay. Now shifting gears and within the maintenance management arena is our ConnectGIS. So think of the ConnectGIS solution as a centralized database of all of your facility information, whether that's interior or exterior information. You can share this information cross-departmentally. I have heard even where some clients will share it with first responders, for instance. And so with that, kind of takes your building map data information, gives you more context to make decisions through your location information. Was talking to a client this morning up in Maine. I think they had just experienced about 7.5 inches of snow. So simple things even just of, okay, those gentlemen, they're going to have to plow the parking lot. So maybe where am I going to put those snow piles in the parking lots currently? So how do we direct that traffic? It can also provide you with a professional portal that allows citizens or employees to access your information from anywhere at any time. Maybe I'm coming to an athletics event this evening and I don't exactly know where the gym is on campus. So those types of things where they can easily kind of gather that information. Better context for decisions and increases transparency and communication. I had heard from a client where they were even going to use it for bus pickup and drop off from a safety perspective, so folks knew exactly where students needed to be to kind of manage or how to maintain safety then throughout the process. Apologize for the tickle in my throat, folks. This cold weather has really done a number on me. And then along the lines of safety management, so our Crisis Manager solution, if you haven't seen it or experienced it, do encourage you to play around with it. You can access it via the App Store or Google Play. Think of it as a one-stop shop for all of your emergency needs in the palm of your hand. It is a mobile application. So for those of you that maybe struggle with binders or documentation that could be anywhere, everywhere, one-stop shop for you to easily manage your information, quickly update it, and get the communication out to your users as quickly as possible. You can publish your safety plans to the application, update them, access them at any time whenever you need them. For instance, then if you have, let's say then students that are traveling abroad or are going to be away from campus, you can provide them with travel abroad plan information that they can access so they know exactly what to do, let's say if they run into any problems or issues while they are away from their institution. You can also include plans for anything from natural disasters, civic disturbances. I have heard then where some clients will even use it for hazardous spills or maybe accidents that may occur, or what happens then if there's an IT issue or we lose connection. So sky's the limit as far as in what type of plan information that you can include. You can give your staff and your students the right information right when they need it. So best of all, it is an application, as I mentioned, that is available in your app store on your device that has everyone on the same page all the time. Some recent enhancements to the Crisis Manager since we launched it. It is now fully encrypted end-to-end. The Crisis Manager application is now also available internationally. So we have brought on then some clients and that are global, part of our global client base, and so they have full functionality and can even include it then in various languages as far as then the setup. There has been then a privacy setting that has been added to reports and forms that help to limit the distribution of personal details, so relative to HIPAA compliance. And then last but not least, again, SchoolDude is here to assist you with all of these solutions and that we are mentioning. We do now have a services offering where our team can help you regards to your content formatting of your information. So for those of you that either have considered or may be considering implementing the Crisis Manager solution, our content formatting service will take your existing plans or content, will load them into Crisis Manager and format it, and then share with you our best practices as far as in the setup of the Crisis Manager solution, so that then your institutions can benefit from it. Okay. Now jumping back to the maintenance management arena, so our capital forecast direct solution. So think of that as a long-range facility planning solution. Helps you forecast any future facility repairs and manage your resources. You can create a plan of action. It does come from either life cycle data or best practices that we've seen within your various regions of the country. You can make sound investments in repairs. So for those of you that do have our maintenance solution, it does tie in directly with the maintenance solution, so you can track your progress, help you justify your funding and budget requests, because then you would be tracking costs to maintain or support not only the various building systems within your facilities, but also then the equipment or assets that you do have. And it also works hand in hand with any facility condition assessments or condition assessments that you either have already in place or that you've have kind of sitting around. We do also then offer them professional services around that, and I'll kind of get into that in greater detail. So for those of you that maybe have not had a chance to have a facility condition assessment or study done, we can certainly help you with that. Okay, and then within our facility usage arena, so on the 7th of this month, so just last week, we recently launched an enhancement to our Event Essentials or facility usage solutions. Now you will find then that the solutions integrate with iCal for those of you then that either use that integration and or even then to Outlook, so we can help you there. And then for your users that maybe are more prone to subscribing to events via an RSS feed, we also have that as well, so that they can have real-time access to your activities calendar without having to be logged into the solution itself. So recent enhancement came out the 7th of this month, so just last week. If you have any questions around that or need more detail, be happy then to have our support team either reach out or we can train you specifically on that recent integration. Okay, professional services. So I had alluded to that when talking about not only then our Capital Forecast Direct solution, but then also our Crisis Manager. So the big key here is kind of helping you be successful and knowing that a lot of the time then you may not have true bandwidth to do all the great things that you have in mind to do. So thusly then our professional services have a new, whole new suite of professional services for our clients, as you see here. So just to kind of give you a high level, so the data mart and the custom reports If there is information that you would like to pull or look at in a specific manner that comes from the solution itself, then that's kind of where the data mart and the custom reports would come into play. The PM implementation is for those of you that that I've talked to or just have heard where preventive maintenance can be a bit of a struggle, right? A lot of the time then folks are either coming from a calendar, some are coming from just plain old knowledge that they have of the institution within their head. Some have told me that they manage their preventive maintenance solutions via whiteboard. So helping you kind of get that jump started where we can have our team either virtually set up your preventive maintenance schedules for you. We could come on site if you'd like us to as well. We do about 20 preventive maintenance schedules for you per each of your facilities. And then we can also populate any of your equipment data. So in line with our capital forecasting solution that we mentioned, obviously it's key to tie what kind of investment are you making into your assets so you know whether or not to continue to maintain those assets or whether we need to think about replacing. Along those lines of equipment data gathering, I know that can be pretty painstaking as well, so we can have our team gather all of that information for you. If you just want us to focus on major pieces that would be very detrimental if they did go down, then we can do that as well. And then kind of further into more hefty sort of preventive maintenance implementation. If you want us to do majority of the work with that, we can certainly do that. And then last but not least, kind of full board and allowing you the true scope of maintenance management as a whole. So not only then would we gather all of your equipment data, we could do that facility condition assessment for you as well. We could do a narrative report and then automatically then populate all of that information into your capital forecast solution for you. Okay. In addition to those professional services that I mentioned, we do also have data migration services. Some of you may have heard it in the form of our either utility bill automation service where we would take that information from your vendors and then populate that into your energy management solutions. Some may also have experienced that with as you transition from other maintenance management solutions or other systems as a whole. If you don't want to lose that data and would like to bring that into SchoolDude, then we do have our team could assist you in formatting that information and bringing it in so that you have that historical information to lean on. And then I had mentioned our content formatting services specifically for our crisis manager solution. So all these services, I know it's a lot to take in, definitely all part of our drive to ensure then client success overall. Hopefully those of you on the line have at some point in your experience with us attended a Dude University. If you have not, then now's your chance. Our Dude University for next year will be here in Raleigh, North Carolina, so kind of in our backyard this time. I know I've heard some grumblings and that folks are disappointed that it's no longer in Myrtle Beach, but we've certainly grown, so that, we take this as a positive that now we need larger facilities to kind of handle the breadth of our client base and the experience. So included within the Dude University experience will be facility tours. We'll also have some more product announcements like the ones that you heard me mention with kind of more detail around that. And I believe within the solutions, I think I saw it today, where we have descriptions around the various presentations that we will be having throughout the experience. So look forward then to seeing you. Hopefully then have that chance then to see you next year. Wonderful way, like I said, then to learn best practices and network, and in addition to meeting your account managers or client success representatives, also meeting then the client service center representatives that are there to support you and help train you. Okay. Before we end here, I know then that it was a lot of information that we discussed in a rather short time. At the onset I mentioned that there is a recording that we will share with you, so thank you so much for attending. So there will be a recording of that as well as links to our content and the survey results as well as in the 2017 survey. If you would like more information about anything that I've discussed, please take a look at the poll here and respond accordingly, and we will most certainly then follow up with you. I thank you all for your questions throughout. I think we're hopefully done a good job about getting back to you with the questions that you had throughout the presentation. If you need to reach us, by all means, please feel free. I think you all have my email address if you have any questions there. So with that, again, my thanks. Appreciate all that you do. So on behalf of SchoolDude and everyone here, thank you for all you do to kind of maintain and support and succeed and help folks succeed in their educational environments and experience. Hope you all have a wonderful holiday season and hope to see you next year then come April. All right, stay safe. Take care. Bye-bye.